Welcome to Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite.
Hey guys, Alicia here with Working Dog Radio, Torchlight K9, and Oil Capital K9 Fund. I'd like to say thank you guys for listening to us for the past 6 years. That would not be possible without you and without our sponsors. We want to say thanks to Ray Allen Manufacturing. They've been a longtime partner of ours. They're friends of ours. We do equipment with them. We use their equipment every day. Ray Allen, the letter K, the number 9, on socials, Ray Allen K9. Please check them out at rayallen.com. If you guys are looking to go to a conference this year, it has to be none other than HITS K9 Conference. They're going to be in New Orleans, 2024, from August 26th to the 29th. If you guys are interested in going, and you should be, please contact Jeff Barrett at 863-529-5113 or check him out at hits, the letter K, the number 9.net. Everybody wants to feed their dog well, and if you're feeding them kinetic, you are. It takes the guesswork out of it. They've got some new supplements coming, some new flavors coming. We're going to have some previews for you. Please tune in for that. KineticDogFood.com, 513-615-6904. Check them out. American aluminum products save dogs' lives. All of our officers use their canine inserts. They also make some really nice rad crates and a lot of other things, including training aids. Check them out. American Aluminum Accessories on the socials. You can call them toll free, 800-277-0869, or email them for a quote at quotes@aaa-mail.com. Horizon Structures is a one-stop shop for your dog kennels. If you guys are serious about this and you're getting into it, you need space for dogs, give them a call, 888-447-4337. From mild to wild, let your imagination go. They can make it and drop it off at your door. Horizon Structures. And we would really like it if you guys would follow us on our new YouTube, Working Dog Radio YouTube. You're going to be able to see our pretty faces. You're going to be able to see our ads and our guests. We're going to have some really cool training videos. We're going to release podcasts earlier in that avenue. So please join us on our YouTube. We really appreciate you. Thank you for listening.
All right, everybody, we are back. Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite from the Hold the Line Conference here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This is day 2. It is 1:22 in the afternoon, so a couple more hours of instruction, and they'll be closing up shop. I think they're doing a raffle and kind of a hangout night tonight, but most of us are leaving. I know you are, Ted.
Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. You said the weather might. See, I'm flying United too, but 2 hours before you. I wonder if that's the issue. Maybe it's expecting weather a little bit later. So what's been going on today?
Nothing, just doing interviews, throwing stuff at the Worthless Handler booth because we're next to them and Ray Allen. So there's lots of alcohol and lots of hood rat things going on. Of course, everybody's running around putting stickers on everybody's back. So I had one on me last night when I came home, or when I came back to the room from dinner. I have no idea how it got there, but it's kind of Gary's thing. He likes to run around and hide shit places. So
yeah, him and Matt from Ray Allen put a fanny pack up on this giant high ledge, and if you could get it down, you could have it. It was up there, man. And so some guy went and got a giant, like, billboard flag type thing from a booth and managed to get it. It took forever, though, for somebody to figure out how to get it down. Guys thought the strap was hanging down. I think dudes were jumping. Motherfucker, that's like 12 feet.
Shaq couldn't.
Yeah, right. You're not jumping up there like that. So, again, thanks to the Rich and Greg from Police K9 Radio. This is their little podcast setup, and we just they let us gank it so that it's an easy plug-in and we don't have to add anything to it. This room is being used for a lot of different things. Say hi out loud, Justin. Justin Rigney's in the room. Yeah, he's in here putting his stuff together. He's going to start playing the bugle here in a little bit just to, liven it up a little bit. But he's getting ready to teach in about 20 minutes. Drove in last night, right? Drove in, going to teach here in a little bit and leave. So who we got?
Today we have a handler. She's been to a couple of HRDs and decoyed for us. And then as a K9 handler here in the South, Jesse Owens. Jesse, how are you?
Good. How are you all?
Doing well. So give us a little bit of your background real quick, so everybody knows who they're listening to.
Okay. So I have been in law enforcement for about a little over 9 years now. I'm stay with the first agency that I came to, but I was hoping to become a game warden. I was looking to get into conservation policing. I actually have a degree in biology and a minor in equine. And I turned down vet tech school to go into law enforcement, but it was very competitive, so I didn't quite make it through that process. So I just applied to local law enforcement, and here I am today. And I've been handling K9 Wilson for about 5 years now.
I think the conservation stuff is pretty cool. Like, there's so much going on that kind of makes sense of why it's competitive. And in Ohio, there's a college, I can't remember the name of it, but that does conservation degrees that guys can get, and then they go to the police academy at the end of it, and they then try to get like ranger jobs and jobs all over the country, and they all said it's super
That's
hard.
where Mike Lilly started too. He was a fish and wildlife guy down in Florida. And,
yeah.
And federal. We've worked with some of the federal fish and wildlife guys too, and they've got dogs. So it's a thing for sure. But yeah, it's interesting that a lot of people don't even know that they like even police, but like the general public.
Yeah, by themselves though, like out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
dudes with rifles.
Well, I was like, yeah, and that's what are they? What hunters always have. So. Yeah.
Well, cool. So tell us about your dog.
So Wilson is a dual purpose patrol narcotics canine. He's my first, and I kind of call us the gypsies because we will travel wherever just to get the training. I work for a small agency. It is just me. So I started in a suit to, get as much knowledge as I possibly could before the position opened. But, trying to find quality decoys and not just, the rookies that everyone wants to throw in a suit because they think it's hilarious to watch a dog cream someone, but then, they open themselves up to injuries for their dog, so it's not so funny anymore. But that's kind of us. But we would just, wherever we can get in, quality trainers, we will travel.
When you go to HRD with Ted and Ray, it's for a lot of decoys. They're like, yeah, I decoy dogs. And then over the next 3 days, it's the deep end of the pool.
Yeah.
I'm notorious for not being very empathetic or sympathetic. And I'm like, are you going to die? They're like, no. I'm like, you got a suit on. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be good. Two more. You only got 2 more dogs.
Right. 2 more.
Yeah.
And
there's
like,
8 bites per dog.
You said 2 more like 3 dogs ago. And I'm like, you'll be all right.
Want some water?
Yeah.
You need anything?
I think in Lancaster, what was it? We had one decoy, bless her heart. She took a bite and she was like, hang on. He's almost to you in one of the building searches. But yeah, no, after a while.
Yeah. That was a super hard biting dog. And I was like, you're not going to die. I promise.
Right. she gutted it out. It was awesome.
So one of the things we wanted to have you on to talk about is we, Ted and I go to hits. We go to this thing. We've seen you at several of these. There's it's not zero, but there's not a ton of female handlers at these things. I would say percentage wise in the country anyways, it's a lower percentage of people that are female handlers. So we wanted to get you on and talk about what that's like, struggles, maybe some advantages with you and your dog relationship wise, if you can think of any, and just kind of what it's like being a woman in this line of work.
Sure. The struggles is, as male predominant, like you said. So there are the good old boy systems that sometimes you have to run into. And as being a female, just the genetics, right? We don't have the same type of strength or bone density as males. But what we can bring to the profession itself is sometimes being able to be that icebreaker and start conversations that some of the guys have a hard time, just interviewing people. Mm-hmm. And then as far as the canine world, like I started out in the suit, like I said, so I would, travel wherever I could to get in front of as many dogs, but I would hear like behind me and I would know they're talking about me because they're pretty much describing, that girl in the green and blue suit. And I know that's my suit. I got to watch her. I want to see this dog cream her. And so it's just like one of those things that just kind of made me, want to be more determined to just go out there and just show them that we can do this too. How females are wired, we're more detailed oriented. Certainly there's a way to talk to us. I would say I've seen some females kind of break down. It's just a different way of how we understand and perceive things. But for the most part, when it comes to pain and being able to gut it out and just deal with it, that's where we stand and our strengths are.
Hey guys, Alicia with Working Dog Radio here again. I wanted to take a moment to talk about one of our newest sponsors, someone that we are super, super happy with and glad to have aboard, somebody that we have known since they literally got into the game. Aiden and Jesse from Rex Specs literally made a product so that they could enjoy life with their dog. Their dog suffered from panis and they wanted to take their dog skiing. And they went out and they made goggles that fit their dog. And now they make products for your dog, my dog, and everybody's dog. And we've watched them grow and we are so proud of them and proud to know them. All their products are American made. They are supporting us who support them. These goggles are UV protectant. They protect your dog's eyes from dust, from particles, from anything that could get in the way if you take your dog to the range. One of the products that Ted and I use most often is their Ear Pro. They have K9 Ear Pro. It pulls over your dog's head and it protects their ears. So if you go to the range, you're doing gunfire acclimation, whatever you're doing, those things work great. They have leashes. They have all kinds of cool stuff. You really need to check them out. And we are very glad to have them aboard and very proud of their products. We do have some. We will give some away. Keep watching for us. If you check them out on the socials, it's at Rex Specs, SPECS, the letter K, the number 9, and also rexspecs.com. If you use the discount code Working Dog Radio, all one word and all lowercase, you'll get 20% off your first order.
Yeah. So Ted, when you go at HRD, there's not always female decoys, but we went through a series of a lot of female decoys. What do you see the advantages of that?
They do work dogs differently. And, guys, I think, regardless of how skilled you are, I think men, especially male decoys, tend to kind of use strength and presence and power to kind of manipulate dogs and do some things that I like Jesse said, that females just physically aren't able to do. And sometimes even the males aren't, because we have some big swamp donkeys that come to HRD sometimes that are just huge dogs. And the other thing is we have seen dogs not want to bite females. And we've seen dogs not want to bite females. In fact, Boston stands out because we had in the amoeba drill. If you've been doing HRD, you know the amoeba where it's a muzzle drill. And we had 3 female decoys in the room at the same time. We had several dogs run in there and not want to engage anybody. And they'd come out and want to engage backup guys and other dudes standing there, and because they wouldn't. And so it's good to see that. We bite women all the time, or my guys do. In fact, one of my handlers bit a woman a couple weeks ago, and I have a dog that retired with all of his street bites for women, with the exception of one. So it's Oklahoma, the tweakers. Like,
yeah. We back in Canton, we bit women. It was always a surprise, pretty much like a burglary or something like that, and they'd find the person biting, and you'd tell it was a female, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't know that. What are you breaking into this church for, you weirdo? So what do you think the deal is with the muzzle stuff? It's crazy to watch them do it. Like they'll chase the female into the room and then run around them.
What I suspect that it is, and then I'll let Jesse answer after, is the dogs, I think, interact with females. It's the way that they interact with females, the way that they're used to normally interacting. So the dogs go home with their handler, who is usually married to a woman, and they interact with women that way. Like if they have patrol officers that are women, they interact with women that way. And so for them, I think contextually, because dogs are nothing but association machines, right? So contextually, they don't associate biting. But then there's a whole conversation about, can they tell the difference between men and women and whatever it is? And so there's any number of variabilities. It may not have been the women thing in Boston. It may have been something else. But there was definitely some dogs that were already proven to bite, and we're like, nah, I'm not going to bite her.
Yeah, run right past her.
Yeah.
She's standing in the way, trying to get in the way of the dog, right around her.
Yeah.
So then we were dicks, and we put 2 women in the room.
3.
Yeah, we called it the Broad Squad.
Yeah.
And there was no everybody failing, dogs running around the room. It was pretty interesting to see. So Jesse, piggybacking off something Ted said. So at the jiu-jitsu place I go to, the black belt instructor, his wife is a purple belt, and there's a couple other females there, and I roll with them, and obviously I'm significantly stronger than them. They have to use perfect technique, and she is a killer. And never grunts. You never hear her trying to force anything because she can't. So the technique has to be perfect. So with you as a female doing decoy, you know, the guys can muscle some of that stuff a little bit, but what do you find like technique wise that you have to have perfect that gets you past the muscling part?
Honestly, to me, it's the footwork. When I was decoying, that's all I was doing before I got the position. I would actually practice the footwork. And I would watch videos and I try to look at timing, take into the equation of speed, because everyone wants to do those long sends, right? Because that's the cool stuff. But no, that was mainly it. And then two, honestly, I think it's just being around animals and learning to read body behavior. Like I said, I have a minor in equine, so I worked with horses. And, you know, horses, you got to read their body language. If not, you might get bit or kicked. And that's pretty serious and can be harmful. But
them fuckers can kick
I don't mess
frontwards
with
and backwards with their front.
I don't mess with
I've watched them do it. It was wild. Anyway.
Nah.
But yeah, so I mean, I do think there is a difference, especially with, you know, genetically, like we release, you know, gases and pheromones that are different that the dogs can smell that we can't. And so I do think, Ted, as well, like the whole, they got a mom back home, right, who probably allows them to get away with things that dad doesn't know about. They're here at this conference, right? How many treats and stuff are they getting? So they learn to kind of know that, oh, this is a safe person here. But some of it too could just be just not having that exposure to hearing a female scream that's on the bike, because, you know, that's just something that's like, whoa, what was that? You know.
You ever do the drill where you sweet talk the dog when they come in the room? You ever try that one?
No, I've actually just like outed.
Yeah.
Get use their commands on.
Oh,
That
really?
really takes some-
Yeah, I've heard. I haven't. I tried it in Vancouver. Have the girl, they call them quarries, the decoy, try to sweet talk the dog when they come in. The problem with it was a building search. So the dog's coming in full speed and she's got a bite suit on. I said, listen, just try to sweet talk them, go like this, and then take the bicep if they're going to do it. So I'm at the other end. I come in, I go, how's it going? Just covered in slobber on that bicep because none of them stopped. And it was just because of the suit. We tried everything to get them to go for the dude instead of her to see if it would do it. But with the suit on, they would just keep doing it. So, Ted, what is it you say about horses, about their size? And
animals that big shouldn't be scared of anything. And they're literally scared of everything, like violently scared of everything. They're scared of paper bags and like weird shit.
Umbrellas.
Yeah. Horses. I don't mess with horses.
Yeah. I don't really either.
I'm from Oklahoma. Everyone's like, oh, you ride horses? I'm like, no, I don't.
Right. When you have a business like a kennel or anything like that, getting people that grew up like in maybe 4-H or FFA and they're used to large animals do really good with dog stuff. But what they do understand is that with dogs, movement is life. You're having a problem with a dog mentally and some problems, get them off the X, movement. And horses are very much the same way. Right. When they get afraid, a lot of them will lock up. You got to get them moving, get them off of that. And so I find horse people do really, really well with dogs. Let's talk about your work dog. What do you like about the dog the best?
I love the energy he brings. He's contagious. Meaning like just everyone that works around, like, well, they know when Wilson shows up, you know, I'm the taxi. They're like, you know, oh yeah, shit's gonna get real. There's just been times too that he looks bigger than me. I think Alicia on a treadmill talk with that tank it was, mentioned that she imagines me riding in on Wilson, like holding a spear. And that probably looks about right because, you know, you hear I have a soft voice, but when it comes to giving canine commands, I'm like twice or maybe 3 times as loud as this. But no, I mean, even when I'm like, think I messed up on something, he just reassures, like, let's go again, Mom. So that's what I love about him is his drive.
Oh, Ted and I's favorite question here is, what don't you like about him? This is more telling, I think. Like, you have to do some introspective thinking.
Yeah. So he's a Shepherd, so he's a Mal and Shepherd mix, but there's times that I'm like, you're going to run into what we're searching for. So he's not very visual. So sometimes, you know, I get a little irritated with that. I'm like, it's right here, dude. Like, I see it, but he's using his nose. He's still working, you know, and doing some problem solving. But yeah, if he was, you know, 60 pounds, that'd be nice. Yeah. You know?
Your next one will be.
Yeah.
That's Eric and I's thing. Like every time we're at an HRD or a seminar and a handler has like a huge dog, we're like, first dog, huh? They're like, yeah, how do you know? And I'm like, what's your second one going to be? They're like, not this big.
So windows are fun. Yeah, we've had to do that a couple times.
It's like disheartening. You're like, oh, will you please stop jumping shit?
And
I
I'm
can't
not
get this
tall.
dog over it.
Yeah.
You know, it'll wear you out. So let's talk about, the road to K9 handler is, for some people it was easy. Some people it isn't. When you're a female in your agency, big or small, medium, whatever, and they're trying to get into it in a situation where there's selection and it's not seniority based type of stuff. When the girl's trying, maybe she gets passed over and she still wants it. What's your advice to that girl behind you?
My advice is just to not give up. I mean, but there comes a realization too, if it is a good old boy system, is it going to really happen here? I think I still remember when I was listening to like any type of podcast or something, one thing that you mentioned was go to a big agency. And I was like, all right, because I was trying to make it happen.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was on Tank Show.
Yeah. So, certainly here we are today. And I didn't have a process solely because everyone knew in my agency how hard I worked, how much I put in on my own time with my personal dogs, just trying to learn as much as I could. They respected me so much. They said, Jesse, I was interested, but I just couldn't put it against you.
That's
you
cool.
deserve it. Yeah. And so I didn't quite take that as well because they wanted to prove to me that it was going to be some big ordeal, some big process, which I was fine with. I've been through that for our SWAT team and stuff. I didn't expect any leniency. I didn't expect the standards to be bent for me. So it's just mainly just, being determined and not giving up.
Yeah. How many people in your agency?
We have about 50 sworn.
Yeah. So that's that's right in the wheelhouse where if you're at a smaller agency that size, people do know and they see. The disadvantage of a big agency is if you're going to training and you're decoying, you're doing this on your own private, nobody knows. Like 3 or 4 people and not the people who matter. Nobody knows.
So I want to ask you something because where I'm at, just over the border into Arkansas, there's a city. It's a fairly large city for Arkansas that has several dogs, and they have a female handler who I have a ton of respect for, Lauren, if she's listening to this. And do you find it hard to ask for help with dog stuff, with this stuff from like male counterparts that are close to you? Like, I mean, close within your working area. Like, I don't know how close you have like other canine guys around, or like if they're willing. Because with this handler in Arkansas, one of our state certifiers, Travis Salisbury, who is a friend of mine and a great handler and a great dog trainer, and he goes over and trains with them, and I'll usually go, I don't know, a couple times a year. And every time I interact with her, she's always so appreciative and she's never openly said this to me, but I get the impression that it's hard for her to ask for help because she feels like she's being judged by her peers. And I'm not a peer. Like, I'm just a knuckle dragging goofball that teaches dogs to find stuff and bite people. So like, how have you had to navigate that? Certainly
networking. Being able to come to conferences like this and network, figure out who's in your surrounding area. But it is hard because, we get to this level and we want to be able to show that we can do it. And sometimes there's a little bit of pride that leaks in, but at the same time, it's also, sometimes your administration doesn't understand why you need this certain piece of equipment. So what do you end up doing? You end up saying, I'm not going to ask again. I'm just going to go buy it myself. So you find ways to try to compensate for that. But no, it is still sometimes just a battle. And I think just being able, have to travel. Sometimes I've traveled 2 hours for a maintenance training.
Yeah, that's a lot. And that's leaving at 5 a.m. to get someplace.
The next thing I'm going to mention, I'm going to leave the agency out of it because people will be able to put 2 and 2 together. And I'm just going to kind of give some broad general strokes. I have a friend that runs a unit that has a female handler, and he doesn't single her out, but he doesn't give her any preferential treatment. And he expects the same things out of her that he expects out of every canine handler, whether they're in his unit or not. And I feel like she sometimes tries to play the card and do some things that are kind of outside of the wheelhouse of what she should be doing. And this person will ride her into the ground until she does it correctly or does it per policy or whatever it is. And it's not him being an asshole. It's just like everyone else has to do it. So, that's kind of the other end of that, afraid to ask for help, but also want to take advantage of the situation type thing. So,
yeah, I guess we see that guys and girls, but you need to have that mentality. Canine training is so much to learn. Like, I only have 5 years in, and it kind of excites me I still feel like a baby at this, if that makes sense, because there's so much that we're learning. Even like running the same trainers that maybe I've sat in their class before, there is still learning things that they're modifying and they're sharing that. And it's like, to think about, when I'm sitting in with Mike Lilly, to use food, what's one of the ways to communicate to your dog is through his stomach is what he said. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that, but it worked wonders. So yeah, there is certainly that aspect of things with females, but I think the best advice I can give is don't expect anyone to, give you handouts, earn it. If you go work with a trainer that you've heard great things about, like I want them to treat me like I'm their handler for their agency, because I know that's what's going to make me better. Be coachable.
I'm thinking back to some of the handlers, some of the female handlers we've had through that I know, Casey is a perfect example out in Florida. Mm-hmm. Casey is a fantastic handler, her and Taco, and everything she's done, she deserves. Like she's put the work in and she's a fantastic handler. And then we had a handler at the
same. She can do some pull-ups too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them.
Yeah. She can do some pull-ups. And then we had a handler come through in California in San Jose that handled a super nice black German Shepherd. And she was a fucking hell of a handler. And I can tell that, first of all, they're good people, right? Like Casey and this one, and then Sarah Carver, right? Another one they're great people, but they also, I think, are put in positions where they kind of feel like they have to work a little harder. And I joke, I was like, if half of you motherfuckers worked as good as well as they do, you might be better, right? And so then I use it as like the other way around. I'm like, dudes, like you need to work as hard as the females are, because look how much fucking better handlers they are than you. And so typically, like, I don't come across many dual purpose handlers anyway. I don't come across a lot of like mediocre or lazy female dual purpose handlers.
And I think that's what we know going into it. We have to find another way to overcompensate for our weaknesses.
Yeah. And I find a lot of lazy fucking male handlers that I've been like, you know what? There's 90 other jobs in law enforcement. You may want to pick one of those. Like go investigate pawn shop crimes or something. Yeah. Like go look for serial numbers.
The one thing, the advice I will give the female handlers is you really, it has a ton of other benefits for your life, but you need to be in the gym.
Right.
You got to work out. You more than some of the guys need to work out. Like Jesse was saying about the windows and stuff like that. At some point you will be pressing a little bit, at least, of that dog. And granted, in training, like if I have a female handler, there's no quarters given by me. Like I'm not going to change anything, but I also take that into account on some things where we have to modify this for her because she's 5'2" and the window's at 6.5 feet off the ground or whatever it is. Sure, let's figure this part out, but you're going to do it. Like there's not a break in that. But I do believe, especially like upper body strength and your arms and your shoulders and everything, girls should be in the gym in general, but in K9 for sure. I think it's staying, in shape like that's probably better for you than even anybody else.
I like to tell people there's two types of in shapes. There's like just being in shape, and then there's a whole nother, like when it comes to decoy, there's a decoy being in shape, because you not only have the suit, you have the dog, and then if it's a scenario where you're going to do hands-on or something, or what the brown hole, like that one, you know what I mean, where you jump out of nowhere, and then the handler sometimes is up here, and
and also women handlers in general, you got to get real good on the range. There's a lot of guys that can't shoot. There's a lot of women that can't shoot, but if a shooting goes weird and it's a woman, they're going to get blamed because they're a woman.
What was the woman that we had at your SWAT thing and that had that dog from Colorado?
Oh, Brett.
Yeah. And she was a good handler.
Yeah, she's real good.
Nice dog.
And got kicked out of the unit for coming to that class. Yeah. She is out of law enforcement altogether. She runs detection dogs for like one of the big companies. Cargo screening and stuff like that. She was good. I liked her, Brett.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brett. Yeah, she took her dog to this class, got approval, drove from Colorado to Ohio, but then the guy who gave her approval, like, deleted that and hung her out to dry when he got in trouble. So it's a weird thing. She probably could have brought a dude. He'd have been fine. There is some weird stuff, man, that goes on with it, but really appreciate you coming on, man. We've been friends for a while. We've been following you online. You've done work with Ted, and so happy the day you got selected for K9, and we're really happy with that. So how old is Wilson now?
He's 6.
So probably 4 years, maybe, as long as he doesn't get hurt.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you're going to keep doing it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A little Mal next time?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
something
gonna
small,
get
yeah.
like a 60-pound Malinois. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Was super angry or something like that. So remember, don't compare them. Wilson and that dog aren't the same. That's a tough thing for handlers. So I can't remember. Is your Instagram public? Like people can follow you to see what you're doing?
They
or
can send me a follow and
reach out to her DMs. Females, handlers, and stuff. You got questions?
Right, yeah, certainly.
She's out here doing it, and you need to be coming to these conferences. She does.
Find a way, make a way. Even if it is another handler, sleeping bag, something.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah. Right. Cool. Ted, you got anything else?
No.
All right, everybody knows where we're at. Working Dog Radio. Ted_Summers.
Yeah.
Working_dog_radio.
Yep. Right. HRD, please. K9. Yeah.
Van Ness K9. We're good to go. All right. Thanks. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Yep. See you.
You got your reasons, I got my wants. Still got that feeling, but I'm too old to die young now.
Working Dog Radio was graciously granted permission to use this music by Brother Deeg. Be sure to check him out at brotherdeeg.blogspot.com. That's spelled brotherdege.blogspot.com. Be sure to buy him a beer at Amazon, iTunes, or CD Baby, or anywhere you stream your music. Working Dog Radio was edited and co-produced by Alicia Brandt.